This video is to show you how to do the second half of the first assignment in the CAD Graphics class at Southern Maine Community College. What I want you to do is to open up an existing drawing and then use the reference on line types that comes from the ASME Y14.5 standard to make sure that AutoCAD is representing all the various lines correctly, both in terms of line type and line weight. The location of the assignment is on the R drive, and it's in the AEDD 105 CAD Graphics under my name, and then assignments looks like this, and this shows you what you have to do. What you're going to do is select each of the lines that you see and place them on the proper layer so that they have the right line type and line weight. On AutoCAD it'll be in color. This is a printout of a drawing that was done, so it's black and white. You can find that file on the portal and just download it from the assignments. Or you can find it in the R drive. There's also a drawing in the R drive, Unit 1 Layers Drawing. You're going to have to open that drawing. I'm just going to do it here by dragging it up and dropping it into AutoCAD. Just pick Open. If you get this error message, ignore unresolved reference files. Now when you're done, it looks like you have an empty drawing, and this is a classic in AutoCAD where people will open a drawing and say there's nothing in it. Double click on the middle wheel on your mouse, it'll do a zoom extents, and you'll notice that there is something in it. And what you have is lines that are all on the same layer. If I were to select all of these, you notice everything in this drawing is on layer 0, which means nothing has the right line type and line weight. Now you could go through and repeat the exercise we did earlier where you create all the layers necessary. But you don't have to do that. With AutoCAD, once you've created some data in one file, you can go and mine that data and pull it into another one. And you do that using something called AutoCAD Design Center. I'm just going to type DC, which brings up AutoCAD Design Center. It normally shows up on the left. I'm going to go over and show you what it looks like. It really is a file management dialog box. And what it allows you to do is to go find an existing AutoCAD drawing and then pull data out of that drawing into the drawing that you're currently in. Now a couple ways to do that. One is to look for the drawing where you've saved it. The other is to look at open drawings. Now we only have one drawing open right now. So if I go to folders and I go searching on my S drive, which is where you're going to save your drawings, I can go in, find my folder, which is right there, then go into the AD 105, into grade, and then open that drawing up, and it gives me certain categories of data. One of them is layers. If I go to layers, you notice all those layers that I created are here. I can take all of those, bring them in here, or just right click and say add layers. Now close Design Center. If I go to the layer dialog box now, all the layers that I created in the last drawing are now created in this one. What that allows me to do is to match this up with the assigned sheet. Let me bring that over so we can see both at the same time. So for instance, I notice that this line right here is a visible line. If I come my AutoCAD drawing and say let's take that line and this one and that one, that's a visible line. That's also a visible line, also visible. Go and pick all of the visible lines in the drawing. I can then just drop them onto the visible lines layer. If I turn line weights on, you can see that I've now placed those on the layer where visible lines are thick. I can also say, this is supposed to be a phantom line. Do the same thing. I'm going to select all the lines that should be phantom lines. In this case, that's all of those. Go to the layer drop down. Pick the word phantom right here. And now that should be a phantom line type. Now you notice that the line type itself doesn't appear to be a phantom line type, and there's a reason for this. The drawing that you've just opened, the drawing I just opened, was a metric drawing. It was done with the ACAD ISO template. Metric drawings use different line type definitions than drawings that weren't done in metric. You can see the overall length is given here as 70, that's 70 millimeters. If we were to zoom closely at one of these lines and take a look at it, you'll notice that as we zoom in, it does break down into a phantom line type. This is really critical in AutoCAD. People get confused by this a lot. We've now dealt with two different types of drawings. One drawing was an imperial drawing. The other drawing was metric. Line types are defined as the length of each of those little segments, the length of the gap, and in AutoCAD, units are not distinguished between millimeters and inches. So in inches, that little gap right there is 0.125. 0.125 millimeters, however, is so tiny that it makes a line type that's so small that you can't read it. So there's a solution to this. And the solution is to go and load line types that are metric definitions, not imperial definitions. So we're going to go back to the layer manager. And in the layer manager, I'm going to go down, and every time there's a line type of some kind, like center 2 for instance, I'm going to go and I'm going to reload center 2. When I go to load, you'll notice at the top it's looking at a specific file. The file it's looking at is not the ACAD LIN file, which is what it looked at before. It's got ISO. Now again, ISO stands for International Standards Organization. That means if I go and pick Center 2 and say, let's load this, do I want to reload it? Yes, and I can reload all the selected line types, which means I can go back and pick all the others. But now when I pick OK, Center 2 has been redefined. Now Phantom is the one we're concerned about, so let's go to the Phantom line type. I'm going to load that again. I'm going to go down, I'm going to pick Phantom 2. And again, I could pick some others while I'm here. I could go up and pick Hidden 2, for instance. So now I have Phantom and Hidden 2 selected. I pick OK. Reload all selected. I pick OK. Now if I come out here and look, it doesn't look like anything happened until I regenerate the drawing, at which point the line type gets larger so that you can see it. Now we'll go back up. I'm going to go back to the layer manager. And what I'll do is say, okay, center 2 we reloaded, hidden 2 we reloaded, phantom 2 we reloaded. We're going to reload dot 2, and that will be the only one left to do. So we'll go back out, go to load, make sure we're using the ACAD ISO line type file, find dot 2, pick OK, reload dot 2, yes, come back out. Now let's see what happens as I start putting lines in. We'll find a center line first. Okay, we have a center line right here. I'll take that center line and I'll put it on the center layer, and you notice that it not only came in blue, but it also came in, and so you can see that it's a center line, so the segment lengths are longer. If we go down to the chain line, that has to be a chain line. We'll select that one. We'll come up and find chain. Now you notice that came in dark, came in as a center line, which is the line type it needs to be, but it needs to be thick, and it is the right color. Come back over here. That should be an object line or a visible line. We'll pick visible. That should be a section line. So we'll go back. Now something happened here. You notice I went and selected this, and I was going to go and change the layer, but it suddenly flipped. And it flipped because that section line is made with a different type of entity called a hatch. And the hatch editor automatically opens. If I come back to the home button, I can still go over and find section, and now those yellow lines, you can barely see them, but if I do that, you can see them a little better. So now I have an object line or a visible line with the section lines. So your job in this assignment is to go through and place every single entity that has to be a particular line type on the correct layer so that it is readily readable as a correct line. And then you're going to go in and you're going to change what it says in each of those leaders, and you're going to change it to the correct line type. In this particular case, I'm going to say that this is an extension line because that's what it is, and that is text, by the way, so that should be on the text layer. So let's put it on the text layer, and that right there is a dimension. That would go on the dimension layer we have right there. So when you're all done, all the colors that are assigned to those layers should show, and all the line types should be correct. When you've got this entire drawing done, we're going to do one more thing. Doesn't involve a whole lot of work, but we look down at the bottom where the status bar is. There's a tab on the left that says Model. We're in model space right now. You'll learn a lot about paper space and plotting as we go along. But if you select that button that says A-Size Mechanical, you'll notice that there's a section where you can lay out a drawing with a title block, all the information that you need, and it shows the drawing as you've created it, as you've modified it. So all those changes that I made have now reflected right here. Go back to the model tab if you want anytime. You can even work in model space by double clicking in here, and then you can deal with the model space entities. Double click out here in paper space. That might seem a little confusing right now. You're not alone in that. There are a lot of professional users that are still a little confused by this, but by the time you're done with this class, you'll have a very good understanding of the distinction between paper space and model space. I'm going to end this video. I think that's enough to get you going. And as always, if you have any questions about it, send me an email or stop by. And that's the end of it.